If there's one government agency that you will always find making headlines, it is this, the Enforcement Directorate, an agency meant to investigate cases of money laundering, but also an agency that is accused of being weaponized in recent years, weaponized by the ruling dispensation to settle political scores. So on one hand, you will often find news articles of ED raiding someone or some company, recovering crores of cash or leveling serious allegations. But on the other hand, you will also find news articles of the ED being pulled up by India's judiciary for the lack of fair investigation, credible investigation, and even an investigation that seems politically motivated. All of these have been detected, pulled up by the Supreme Court or India's court, and the ED has been in the dock. Either way, the image and perception of the ED or an ED raid in recent years is such that A, it is dangerous and serious, and B, good luck getting a bail in such matters. All thanks to the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. If the ED charges you under PMLA or money laundering, securing bail in such matters is a huge task. And we've seen examples of that case after case, especially involving political leaders. In fact, by ED's own admission, only 2 convictions were secured in 193 ED cases against politicians in the last 10 years. So the track record doesn't inspire confidence. And it is this track record and behavior, the conduct of the agency, that has invited the Supreme Court's ire once again. Hello and welcome, I'm Shubham Chauhan. Let's get started. So yesterday, it wasn't the ideal day for the Enforcement Directorate in the Supreme Court. There were 2 separate cases concerning the agency that came up for hearing. Chief Justice of India, B.R. Gawai, was there in both, and he did not mince his words when it came to the conduct of the probe agency. First up was the MUDA scam. The Karnataka High Court had quashed the ED summons involving Siddaramaiah, the Chief Minister of Karnataka, his wife, Parvati. Yesterday, the Supreme Court of India upheld the Karnataka High Court's decision. A bench comprising Chief Justice B.R. Gawai and Justice K. Vinod Chandran was hearing the ED's appeal. The judges questioned as to why was ED being used a political tool. That was the question that the Supreme Court had raised. In fact, CJI Gawai said, Mr. Raju, that is Additional Solicitor General S.V. Raju, who was appearing for the ED, please don't compel us to open our mouths. Otherwise, we will be forced to make some harsh comments about the ED. Unfortunately, I have some experience in Maharashtra. Don't perpetuate this violence across the country. Let political battles be fought before the electorate. Why are you being used? ASG Raju was trying to make the argument about a larger conspiracy at play, and that too was not entertained by the Supreme Court. The court even said, you do not percolate this virus throughout the country now. That was what the Supreme Court had to say. Now, just to give you some quick background on this MUDA case, this alleged scam revolves around 3.2 acres of land that was gifted to Siddaramaiah's wife Parvati by her brother in 2010. The Mysore Urban Development Authority, or MUDA, acquired this land. So as a result, Parvati sought compensation. Then MUDA allocated her 14 plots. Now, these plots are allegedly believed to be more valuable than her original land. So the ED finds this deal fishy, and hence it had booked the Chief Minister of Karnataka, Siddaramaiah, in this case. His wife, Parvati, was summoned by the ED in connection with this matter. ED says she could have received proceeds of crime in this whole deal involving a land. Parvati, on her part, has denied any sort of wrongdoing, and the Supreme Court of India too did not find any flaw with Karnataka High Court's reasoning in quashing the case. And after the top court's strict remarks, Additional Solicitor General S.V. Raju said the ED would withdraw its plea. Although he did urge the court to not allow this order of theirs to be treated as a precedent, to this the Supreme Court agreed. In fact, the Chief Justice of India said that the court must thank Mr. Raju for avoiding harsh comments. Things did not end there for the ED. Sometime later yesterday, another ED-related case came up for hearing in the Supreme Court. And there too, the Supreme Court did not hold back. Basically, this second case was on the ED's summons last month to senior advocates Arvind Datar and Pratap Venugopal. Their supposed crime, advising their clients or representing them in court during criminal investigation. That was the reason. The ED issued summons to these 2 senior lawyers and had asked them to appear before the agency. Multiple bar associations and top lawyers slammed this summon by the ED, calling it illegal and a breach of confidentiality between a client and their lawyer. As outrage mounted, the ED retreated in late June, withdrawing these summons. The agency said such summons cannot be given without prior approval of the ED director. Regardless, the Supreme Court took suo motu cognizance of this case earlier this month. And yesterday, when the hearing came up, like I said, it did not mince words. And it was a bench, the same bench of Chief Justice B.R. Gavai and Justice K. Vinod Chandran hearing this case as well. The Chief Justice of India said, the communication between a lawyer and the clients is privileged communication. And how can the notices be issued against them? They, as in ED, are crossing all limits. CJI Gavai said that such ED notices to professionals like Senior Advocate Datar, it could have a chilling effect as far as practicing law is concerned, adding that guidelines, proper guidelines should be framed in such matters. Eventually, the ED did admit that they had erred, they shouldn't have given out these summons to the lawyers. But like the MUDA case, the agency or government lawyer did not back down without making an argument. Solicitor General Tushar Mehta said that there's an attempt to create a narrative against ED. He said, so far as this issue is concerned, lawyers, as the AG said, AG as in the Attorney General said, cannot be summoned for giving an opinion. General observations are sometimes misconstrued. What happens is, I'm saying this, ED is not saying this. There's a concerted effort to create a narrative against an institution. Please don't carry that impression based upon interviews and YouTube shows. There's a narrative building outside simultaneously. The Solicitor General urged that one should not be generalizing ED, adding that if in a given case the ED oversteps, the court is there to intervene. That's when the CJI pointed out that this overstepping has been happening too frequently. CJI Gavai said, we have been finding it in many cases. It's not like we are not finding. We don't watch the news and haven't seen YouTube interviews. Only last week I managed to watch a few movies. The CJI said that he was speaking from his experience where he had to remind petitioners to not politicize the court and how the ED's investigation was really loose in some case. And this is not just restricted to CJI Gavai or one judge or the other. We have seen judges of the Supreme Court in particular in recent years and even past Chief Justices slam or criticize the ED for their shoddy investigation involving, in many cases, high-profile politicians. That's all we have for this report. Thanks for watching.